guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be talking about my January TBR. Thanks for checking out my channel. Subscribe if you like, leave a comment. So for January, I kind of want to keep my TBR a little bit on the small side. I don't want to overdo myself and kind of get overwhelmed with how much I want to read. I know it's kind of later in January to be making a TBR. It's already over a week in. So I'm just going to talk about the books that I already finished to start with. So first up this month, I read Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is a retelling of Cinderella. In this story, you'll follow Cinder through her journey, and she kind of discovers who she is, which is awesome because being somebody that was adopted and she barely had any memory of her childhood, it's awesome to see how she discovers who she is and what she does with it. Overall, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. You can check out my Goodreads, link down below, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did tab a little bit, it's not too much, but I think it's a pretty good amount. The second book I read this month was The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. This is a very, very emotional story. You follow this boy whose father works for the German military during World War II. And the little boy in this story follows his dad to a new place where he has to move for work. He can obviously tell that there's a division between people, but he doesn't quite understand the severity of it. You can tell in the writing style that he's very naive and he doesn't truly understand much. This is truly a very heartbreaking story. It's also a movie, and I personally had seen the movie years ago, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't the best. Very rarely this happens, but I do think that the movie was actually kind of better than the book, if I can actually say that. Yeah, I recommend it. If you like World War II stories or Holocaust stories, definitely recommend. So now on for the books that I am planning on reading in January. Currently, I am in the middle of 3 Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake, and this story is about 3 triplet sisters who are all queens. One is a poisoner, one is an elemental, and one is a naturalist. They have to come together on their 16th birthday and fight to the death, and the one that survives becomes queen. With this book, I do kind of get the little bit of like the Hunger Games vibes in the sense that it's a fight to the death. You know, it's not just a competition where somebody wins. The last person who wins is the last person alive, and the fact that they are sisters is something that truly intrigued me. So far I am on page 327 out of 398. So I'm almost finished with it, and I am genuinely enjoying this book so far. I hope to complete it with possibly today or tomorrow, and hopefully I can move on to the next book. So the next book that I am currently in the middle of also, because I can never just read one book at a time. I'm always in the middle of just a bunch of them. That book is The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. This story is about a girl who, in the very beginning, she gets raped and killed, and she tries to help her family figure out who it is that killed her, and it's truly just another one of those gut-wrenching emotional stories. I haven't gotten very far into this book, but I am so far enjoying it. I'm on page 98 of 328. So I'm hoping to finish this within the next few days and I can move on to the next. So considering that I had already finished Cinder, I want to continue on with the series. So I picked up Scarlet, which is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles. I don't know too much about this one. I do know that this is a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, which is super cool because you don't really hear about Little Red Riding Hood retellings all that often. It just follows on from what happened in the last book, which I'm not going to really go into detail because I don't want to spoil anything, but I am genuinely excited to continue on this series because I did really enjoy the retelling aspect in the first book. Thirdly and lastly, I want to read City of Glass. This is the 3rd book in the Mortal Instruments series, and if you haven't read any of the books in this series, I highly recommend it. Cassandra Clare is such an amazing writer, and the world building and just how attached she makes you to the characters is phenomenal. I do really recommend that you pick up City of Bones, which is the 1st book in the series, and I can, as you see, I have Queen of Air and Darkness, and I have all of them behind me. Sadly, don't judge me, I haven't read all of the books, so I'm hoping this year that I can get through all of them, the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices and then The Dark Artifices, because I want to catch up to where she is now, so her next release I can be all caught up and ready to read with everybody else. So this book is just continuing on with the story, which again I'm not going to go too far into detail because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I love this series. 5 out of 5 star, you gotta read. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please consider giving me, a thumbs up or subscribing, maybe do the notification bell. Like I said, this is the very first video that I've ever posted on YouTube, so I'm still trying to figure it out. But if you have any sort of, suggestions or whatever, please leave them down below because I'd love to hear them. You can find my Bookstagram and my Goodreads linked down below, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day.